Have you ever paused amidst the chaotic rush of this dazzling world to ask yourself, who is truly rich and who is truly poor? There are those who drape themselves in silk and velvet, yet their souls are tattered by anxiety. And there are those who hold nothing in their hands but the wind and the moon, yet they possess a treasury of peace that 1,000 bars of gold could never buy. If you are feeling that your heart is too crowded with calculations, or your spirit is weary from chasing the illusions of success, then this story is for you. Relax your shoulders, take a deep, slow breath, and walk with me back into a freezing winter night from 1,000 years ago. The Beggar's Bun. That night, the north wind howled as if it wanted to tear apart the silence of the world. Inside the magnificent palace, the flickering candlelight was not enough to warm the emptiness within the king's heart. He stood above thousands, possessing treasures piled as high as mountains, yet strangely, a peaceful sleep remained a luxury he could not afford. Nightmares of loss, of betrayal, and the endless schemes for power clung to him like a second skin. Seeking an answer to this hollowness, the king made a decision. He shed his heavy royal robes, he smeared soot upon his face, donned a set of ragged clothes, and disguised himself as a beggar. Silently, he slipped out of the palace gates, merging into the world of the destitute. He walked through dark, winding alleys where the stench of dampness and decay hung heavy in the air. The biting cold pierced through his thin tunic, making his teeth chatter. But the chill of the weather was nothing compared to the chill of the human heart he witnessed, the averted gazes, the scornful waves of dismissal. As he approached a dilapidated bridge, he saw a silhouette huddled by the dying embers of a small fire. It was an old beggar, his hair a matted mess of white, his skin wrinkled like the bark of an ancient tree. Beside him lay a mangy dog, its ribs protruding, whimpering softly from hunger and cold. The king hid in the shadows, watching with curiosity. He saw the old man trembling as he pulled a small cloth bundle from his rags. Inside was not the soft, fragrant pastry of the royal kitchen, but a rock-hard bun speckled with spots of green mold. It was something discarded days ago. The old beggar lifted the bun. His eyes held no resentment, no greed. He broke the bun in two. The sound of the dry bread cracking echoed sharply in the silent winter night. The king thought to himself, "Surely he will eat the larger portion and leave crumbs for the beast. He is starving after all." But he was wrong. The old man extended the larger half toward the dog. The poor creature wagged its tail weakly, its warm tongue licking the rough, calloused hand of its master before devouring the food. The old man smiled, a toothless smile, yet incredibly gentle. His eyes sparkled with a joy one would expect from a host at a grand banquet, not a starving man sharing a moldy crust. Unable to contain his curiosity, the king, in his guise as a beggar, stepped forward. He feigned a look of disdain and asked, "Old man, have you lost your mind? You barely have enough to keep your own soul in your body. What right do you have to play the philanthropist with a filthy animal?" The old beggar looked up. The firelight danced on his face, illuminating the deep furrows carved by years of hardship. Yet in those eyes there was not a ripple of anxiety or calculation. He looked at the king, then at the small piece of bread remaining in his hand. His voice was raspy, but warm as a hearth. "Young friend, I did not give him the bread." The king was perplexed. "You didn't give him the bread? Then what did you give him?" The old beggar smiled, a smile of profound serenity. "I am sharing my good fortune. I am sharing the luck that even today I still have something to give.
I am celebrating the fact that in this lonely winter night, I still have a living soul to keep me company, so I know I am not the most useless being in this world." Those words struck the king's mind like a bolt of lightning. He stood rooted to the spot. The wind still screamed, but he no longer felt the cold. Instead, a wave of burning heat rushed up his spine, the heat of shame. Beneath his rags, he still wore undergarments of the finest silk. Hidden in his sash were gold coins for emergencies. He had everything the world coveted. But in that moment, standing before the old beggar and the mangy dog, he realized he was the poorest man on earth. He was poor in compassion. He was destitute of peace. He was so poor that he lived in constant fear of losing what he had, while this old man had nothing to lose, and thus owned the entire world. The king turned away quietly, tears blurring his vision. He did not return to the palace immediately that night. He sat under an old tree, looking up at the vast starry sky, and understood a truth that would change his life forever.
My dear friend, the story of the moldy bun and the beggar's smile reminds us of a profound lesson about ownership and happiness. We often mistakenly believe that giving is the privilege of the wealthy. We tell ourselves, when I have enough money, I will be generous, or when I have enough time, I will care for others. But that word, enough, when does it ever truly arrive? In the wisdom of the ancients, the richest man is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. This is the essence of contentment. The old beggar in our story, materially, was a pauper, but spiritually, he was a king. He was not bound by the fear of lack. When he broke that bun, he didn't think he was losing half his meal. He felt he was gaining the joy of sharing. The moment he watched the dog eat, a flower bloomed in his heart. It was the flower of compassion, blossoming right in the mud of poverty. The king, and perhaps many of us, are like wealthy beggars. We beg for affection. We beg for recognition. We beg for validation. We cling tightly to our assets, our worries, our attachments, fearing that if we let go, we will cease to exist. We are rich in inventory, but bankrupt in trust and love. Look at the river. A river never holds water for itself. It flows, it nourishes the fields, and finally merges into the vast ocean. Precisely because it keeps nothing, the river becomes infinite. Our soul is the same. When you dare to open your heart to give, even if it is just a smile, a kind word, or a small piece of bread, that is the moment you break the hard shell of the selfish ego to touch true freedom. Peace does not come from how much you hold in your hands. Peace comes from how gently you can smile and let go. Do not wait to become a king to learn generosity. Be generous like the beggar. Generous with your own heart, grateful for what you have, no matter how humble it may seem. Tonight, before you drift into sleep, I invite you to place a hand over your heart. Let go of the invisible burdens you have carried on your shoulders all day long. Remember, happiness is not found standing on the peak of fame. It is found when your mind is quiet enough to notice the beauty of a wildflower blooming by the roadside. When the mind is at peace, the world is at peace. When the heart is open, the road is wide. I wish you a peaceful sleep, free of heavy dreams, and may you wake up with a heart full of gratitude, just like the smile of that old man on the winter night. If this story touched a quiet corner of your soul, please share it to spread this warmth to those who need it. And do not forget to subscribe to Soulful Life Stories,
so we can continue to plant seeds of kindness every single day. Goodbye for now, and may you find your peace.